Yeah. So we've definitely heard about it, haven't we? The biggest software acquisition this side of the solar system. So Microsoft has suddenly decided, we've got a bit of spare change in our pocket, and we'll buy Activision. That's only a mere £70 billion, pocket change for a company like Microsoft. So, whatever, Twitter, I don't really use Twitter, but I know Twitter's blowing up. Everyone's just made a video of it on YouTube. Everyone seems to be really excited about it. Not so much excited about it. These things tend to be long-term acquisition. This is long-term chess as they play in these companies. So I believe the acquisition doesn't go through for another year at least. A lot of people are worried, we'll never see Call of Duty on a Sony machine ever again. Well, we just need to look at games like Minecraft. They're on Sony's machine. They never took it off. They've left it there. They've updated it. So I don't think you'll find things like Call of Duty disappearing. Not that I care. I enjoy some of the single player campaigns in Call of Duty, but I think as a massive multiplayer game, I think the last one, Vanguard, was a bit of a flop, really, wasn't it? And we can see it with Microsoft as well, buying Bethesda, Fallout 76, bit of a flop. So, what do we really think? Well, I'm not going to make too many brash decisions in my head about is it good for gaming, is it bad for gaming, but what I will say is this. The bed that Microsoft are jumping into, the big double bed that is Activision, that's got a lot of dodgy stains in it, and there's been a lot of naughty things going on in that bed. And it's not a bed I'd want to jump into if I was a company with a squeaky clean American corporate image then. But then that's American corporate all over, isn't it? Jumping into bed into dodgy ass companies. The lot we say, have you ever watched what's he called? Jim, what is he? The Jim Acquisition is his channel. Jim Sterling. If you ever watched any of his thing about Bobby Kotick, he's definitely not a fan, and he's the guy that's kind of the CEO at the head of Activision. So this doesn't just affect games like Activision. I believe you got Diablo in there. World of Warcraft, never played it really. But you have got some smaller titles that we've all heard of as console gamers. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, another one. So they now own all those IPs. So they are now under Microsoft. So where does this stop really with Microsoft? So they bought Bethesda. They've just bought Activision. May as well, got a few quid left over, go and buy EA, Ubisoft, and whoever else you can at the time. A lot of people are saying at the minute, I'm listening to, I've watched a few of the other YouTubers and I'm saying, what can Sony do to battle this? And I don't understand why everyone's sort of turning it into, this is the sort of console war mentality. But if you look at Sony's acquisitions over the last couple of years, they've always been financially very good deals. So I think the last one they only paid 40 or 50 million for, and that was actually a really good small company that does stuff. So I can't remember off my head, but I can remember they've certainly bought a few really good games companies for relatively short change. If you were going to spend 70 billion, aren't you better off buying 20 good quality smaller companies than buying one big dirty smelly God knows where it's been company? That's just the way I think of it. So a lot of people, what's Sony going to do now? This is over, Sony's dead, whatever. And no, not at all. You've got to look at the software that's being produced and has been produced and is to be produced. And if we look at Bethesda, yeah, they got stuff on the way out. We don't know what quality it's going to be, do we? But if we look at the last 2 years of Bethesda, not being that great. Deathloop, which is ironically a Sony exclusive for a timed exclusive, got a lot of awards. A lot of people like it. I played it. Didn't really get on with it that much, to be honest. What else have Bethesda? Well, apart from Arcane Studio, I mean, things like Fallout. So I got itchy nose. Haven't really done too well. And again, with Activision, they haven't really produced anything that you could say critically acclaimed the last year or 2 years. I think the last really big one for Activision, and I know a lot of people that do still play it, is Warzone. People love that game. And, you know, they're not going to suddenly just remove that from the PlayStation Store. Because it's a cross-play game. So you play with PC, Xbox, and whoever else can get their mitts on it. So you can't suddenly have content for one and content for another, because it just wouldn't work, would it, like that? So we've still got EA in this place. We've still got Ubisoft, both of which have their own sort of passes. EA have got a deal with Microsoft, haven't they, with their Game Pass. Ubisoft's got their Game Pass equivalent coming out soon. It's going to Microsoft. Will it come to Sony? Maybe in time. How much will it be? Yet to be disclosed. We know on PC it's about 15 quid a month. So if Sony were to buy some companies to try and counteract, maybe, you know, get back on footing, fight the fight, what companies would people are saying, oh, Ubisoft or oh, Capcom? But I think for Sony, I think the better companies they could be, I think one would definitely be From Software. That would be the type of acquisition. If Sony wanted to bang 10 plus billion out there, probably wouldn't have to cost them that much anyway. But if they were to make a more expensive acquisition, I would say Sony would definitely go for something like From Software. They would stay with Japanese, wouldn't they? You know, that's just the way they do things. Sega would be a good one. Get the Sonic. Sonic's well overdue a reboot. I know it's got a new open world Sonic coming out soon. Something like that would work well for Sony. Keep on with the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, From Software games, and the Sonic games. So you're covering two ends of a base there. Now the other thing is, everyone said, oh, they're going to have to make their own Call of Duty. I don't think they need to worry about Call of Duty. And if they were, try and envisage, if I could speak the word, envisage the MAG formula. And what was the other game that they used to have? Oh, I can't remember. They used to have another shooter as well that used to be very popular on PS3, PS2. But MAG especially, that's a great little game. That's kind of in between a Battlefield and a Call of Duty. You know, they could work something around that franchise. That would be good. So yeah, so while the world's going mental because this acquisition, I'm just going to stay calm, carry on, keep calm and carry on, as they say, keep calm and carry on. And I think really we'll see the fruits of the labour. Won't see really. This will be big news now for the next week, 2 weeks. Ponies will be crying about it. That'll be the headlines. I can just see Crap Gamers' new video headline now. Sony ponies are on suicide watch after Microsoft's acquisition. You know, it's going to be one of those headlines, isn't it? You know, and those types of grifters. But to be honest, is much going to change for at least a year? No. 2 years' time, that's when we'll start seeing the change. Now, let's take £70 billion. Now, what would you rather? £70 billion, about 5 or 6, maybe 8 titles in the next 3 years, or spend £1 billion on 70 separate games? Think how much money that is and how good those games could be. So I believe the next Grand Theft Auto is going to be one of the first games that breaks the £1 billion barrier as far as investment to pre-production. So it costs £1 billion to make. I think the old Grand Theft Auto was something like 400 million to make that game. So, you know, if you could spend £1 billion on a game, how good could you make that game? So Microsoft, in theory, have just thrown away £71 billion games in favour of a few. Somewhat can be good, somewhat a little bit on the teetering. Is it a good business decision? I mean, much smarter people than me at Microsoft, they obviously think they've thrown a good decision out there. I can see why they want back catalogue for Game Pass, etc. But £70 billion, that's a lot of money to try and make back. But of course, Microsoft as a company, that will just go on their tax return as an expenditure. They may have had to have paid it in tax. £70 billion expenditure over. It's it's a positive thing to have on our list. They can always go and sell separately if they ever want a few quid. They can always sell the franchises off separately, can't they? Anyway, so that's it. That's my sort of little ramblings about Microsoft's acquisition of Activision. Bethesda, who's next? Will they buy Ubisoft? Could do. They obviously got money to just blow and waste. I mean, Sony hasn't got that sort of money, you know. They can't really sort of spend that sort of cash injection buying up companies. And I personally don't think they should. I think they should keep doing what they do well, is smaller companies, just quite tight, that can produce a particular style of game with a particular style that suits that company. And I'm pretty sure Sony will try and keep it Japanese based. I mean, they do have some other companies that already, they've got a couple of American companies like Naughty Dog and all that. And as we know, that something Naughty Dog produces is a lot better than something that Activision has produced over the last 10 years. So, you know, horses for courses. What's a good deal? What's a bad deal? Microsoft just using a bit of Sun Tzu's art of war, aren't they? You know, the best wars to win are the wars you don't have to fight. So instead, what they're doing is essentially they've bought up the arms company. You know, you've got two countries at war, and they're all shooting guns and missiles, but the missiles and the guns come from somewhere else. And this hand says, well, we'll just buy up all the weapons. So this company can no longer buy any weapons to shoot at that one. And they just say, well, we'll just call it a truce now, guys. We've got all the weapons. You can stop firing at us. War over. That is kind of what Microsoft's sort of game is, isn't it? They're buying up all the big guns, the bullets, the weapons, and trying to starve the competition out of the battlefield. But there we are. That's it. Activision now belong to Microsoft. I think we'll leave it there. Good luck in your new career, Bobby Kotick.